My name is Patricia Gilhuly. My artist name is PJ Gilhuly. It's my initials. It's funny, I actually just started that name. Well, it's how I usually sign my name to anything that I do work-wise or document-wise. And it just turns out that that's how I sign my name in art. But normally I just go by Patricia. Well, it's really sad. It's not sad, but I mean, for some reason when I paint, I always listen to Taylor Swift. So it's like all Taylor Swift days some days. I don't know. It's just because she's really good at writing songs that are like, about breakups or something and growing pains. And then I like to tap into that place when I paint. I don't know, the sadder the song, the happier I get. Well, if I do art at home or like in the studio, I used to have a studio. I'm very particular when it comes to certain things. Like my house has to be pristine clean. And I just have to be in that right mood, the right music. And then I'm able to paint for forever. Murals are different because they're already kind of, ready to go and the space is great. So all I really need is just my music and my supplies, and that's it. So I think weather is one of them, obviously. I think one year we painted in rain and this year we painted it in heat. That might be the only thing for me. My first mural was really big. It was like 70 feet high, or no, it was 70 feet long and 50 feet high. Just having machinery definitely is, hard to work with sometimes if you don't know how to work them, which I'm not very good at. That's why I have my daughter with me, and she's the one who does all that. But I'm also an artist too that will submit like this is what I plan to do, but I usually kind of veer very off from it. So I do have a tendency to kind of paint as I go. So it's really hard to get hired sometimes when you tell people that, like, here's a design, but I probably won't follow it. So and my first large mural was a horse. And I paint by eye, so like a little bit of the proportion was off at the beginning, and then once I corrected it, it just came along. But that's another kind of risk to take if you hire someone like me. I do everything by eye and just by feel. But I've been lucky that people do keep hiring me, so must be doing something right. So. When you paint by eye and you go by intuition, like for me, I know it's really satisfying when it works out. So, and I do get a feeling, and sometimes it's right at the beginning, like the one that I did in Nelson. It happened really quickly for me in a sense of I have no idea what I'm doing, but sometimes it happens when I pick out the colors. So I literally spend like less than 5 seconds picking out colors in the store. I just kind of look at the wall. I usually start with like my primary. I tend to paint with primary colors lately. So I pick my reds, my blues, and my yellows out, and then my black and white just in case. But and then I get the feel of the hue or the tone of the color, and then I just kind of go from there. And then it's just such a great joy to see it come to life once I start, and then I just kind of follow whatever happens when I'm painting, right? Like you can call it intuition, you can call it whatever, but for me, I just enjoy that process. So with that one, I started with the space, and it's a really awkward, to me it seemed awkward just because it's in a parkade, but once I was able to keep looking at the whole picture, like standing back, like what people would see when you entered. So I did like a little bit down the stairs and a little bit up the stairs. So there's like pieces on both sides. but I wanted them to like blend as well. Like just, you know, like maybe the average eye won't see it, but if an artist stands back and looks at it, there's definitely some fluidity to it when you can see the whole thing. But I started with the raven. I usually try to have some sort of animal in my pieces. I really have this attachment to animals lately in my work. So, and I love ravens and crows, which seems to be the big thing that I paint lately. Last year we painted a couple turtles down on Front Street, and it had like, you know, significance to my daughter and I because it reminded me of my mom who's passed away. And I do find crows and ravens reminds me of my parents as well. So, you know, sometimes when I'm driving and I see a crow, I tend to think of my dad first. And then sometimes I joke with him as I'm driving by thinking like, why are you always checking up on me? I'm fine, right? Because both my parents are gone now. So that was kind of why I put that piece in there. Just kind of have that continuous flow of like meaningness or meaningful things in my work when it comes to big pieces. So I just started with that, and then it just flowed in with all the colors, right? So yeah, that's kind of how that happened. So actually, I had a friend that was living in Trail. She's an artist, and her and I used to work together in a skateboard shop. So I've known her for years, and I know how talented she is in painting. So I had her come down and help me out a little bit with this mural this year. So she's brand new to the scene, and I know she really wants to break into it. She's super talented and creative, and so it was fun to not really teach her anything, but her and I have the same kind of love for painting big. And she was saying how much there's so much freedom in order to like just literally paint lines big, and that's kind of what murals are about. It's just that freedom of expression, and that's another part that I like about painting murals is that I do like big spaces, and I do like making bold choices. And I think it goes the same with her. So I don't think I really taught her anything this year, but I did kind of, I just let her go with it. Like I didn't really have any plans for what she was going to do, and just let her go with her intuition with it. So the stairs that were painted was her choice, and certain parts of the walls were her choice. You can almost tell the difference between her style and my style if you look really quickly, or like look at it, just because we're a little bit different when it comes to shapes. But yeah, I think it's just, I don't know what to say to someone new. That's the way I taught or would teach, would just let somebody go with their intuition, but also have a feel of what kind of artist they are before they start. So I think that, yeah, I think if I had more people like Taylor to teach, it would be easy, just because that would be the only advice. Just kind of go with what you want and see how it works. And if you don't like it, you can paint over it. I've been this person my whole life, but I can see shapes and colors more than I can see people, places, and things. My parents have always told me that I could do puzzles before I could walk, and I just always been able to fit things into where they belong. And I think, I just see life differently than most people. Like I still see shapes and color. I can feel things before I know what it is, right? Or before I know who you are. So I think that, yeah, there's that probably life imitates art. Like there's just so much. I just see differently, right? So I can see creation and creativity before I see anything else, which I think is beautiful, right? So and to me, everything can be beautiful in art, and if I was to get really into it, right? Like a building, you know, the architecture, the shapes, the points, like it could be art, right? Like it could, to me, so not to everybody, but I think it's just because I can see it that way. And plus I would take the time to look at it and to spend time with it and to see it and to almost feel like what someone's thinking when they're doing something like that, like a building, for example. Like you can almost tell what the architect is like, you know, just by the way they design it and by the and then I also have the appreciation for somebody who puts the time and creativity and into something like that. So yeah.